You have my friend and colleague and a bit of a soulmate join us today, Janice Lucero. I'm Dr. Michelle Hall-Kells. I'm a professor in the Department of Chicana and Chicano Studies at the University of New Mexico. It's my great honor to share this moment with my friend and colleague, Janice Lucero. As a student and scholar of environmental studies for a number of decades, I have felt a great reverence for the natural and cultural history of New Mexico and the Gila wilderness. Both my grandfather and my grandmother worked for the U.S. Forest Service from the 1930s through the 1950s. They were in Yosemite and in wilderness areas throughout the Southwest. Conservationist Aldo Leopold and the Gila wilderness represent both a landmark place and landscape in 20th century America. As we recognize the centennial anniversary of the Gila wilderness in New Mexico, we also need to recognize the Gila and this bioregion as the ancestral homelands of the indigenous peoples of this region for more than 2,000 years. And I wish to welcome my friend and colleague, Janice Lucero of the Isleta Pueblo today to share with us her presentation, Indigenous Land Ethics and Core Values. Thank you, Janice, for joining us.
Thank you very much, Michelle, for that introduction. I really appreciate that. And I'm super honored to be here with you all.
Okay, everyone. I'll go ahead and do a quick intro and let Janice start our lecture off today. But I think there's not too many of us that we can go a quick round and just kind of give a quick introduction. We'll just go. We'll go what I have on my screen. We have Jacqueline. Want to go first, Jacqueline?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Aldadete, the Unit Administrator for the Southwest Hispanic Research Institute Land Grant Studies Program in the New Mexico Land Grant Council. Thank you, everyone, for being here.
Thank you. How about Roger?
Roger Frawa, Flower Hill Institute, and president of the Cotton Blossom Fan Club.
Thank you, Roger. Leanne?
I'm Leanne Llamas. I'm a second-year PhD student in the Chicano Studies program.
Thank you, Leanne. Michael? Michael, you're muted.
Michael Johnson here, School of Natural Resources and the Environment, and a member of the Hopi tribe.
Amy?
Hi, Amy Larson. I'm with Quivira Coalition in Santa Fe.
Thank you, Amy. Maggie?
I'm Maggie Werner Washburn. I'm an advisor to Chicano Studies and Chicano, and I'm professor emerita of biology. So I ran a big program and helped lots of kids get good educations.
Great, thank you, Maggie. Diana?
Hi, I'm Diana Bustamante. I'm a second-year MA student in the Chicano and Chicano Studies program.
Thank you. Jasmine?
I'm Jasmine Poblano. I'm a second year in the MA program for CCS.
Thank you. We have DM Dick on, is what it says there. You're still on, you're still muted, sorry. I don't think we hear you, but we see you waving. We're not getting you, sorry. Bilge?
Hi everybody, my name is Bilge. I'm a second year PhD student in Chicana and Chicano Studies.
Thank you. Linda?
Hi, I live in the Silver City area in Membris, and I'm active in the Membris Culture Heritage Site and with a friend of the Chahane Band and the Grant County Archaeological Society.
Great. Kurt?
Hi there. Kurt Miney, checking in with you all from Wisconsin, where I work with the Aldo Leopold Foundation, and I'm also an adjunct professor at the University of Wisconsin in Madison. And I also work a lot in allyship with the Ho-Chunk Nation here in Wisconsin.
Thank you. Sergio? Might not have Sergio. Leah?
Hi, this is Leah tuning in from the Aldo Leopold Foundation.
Welcome. Alicia?
Let's see. I don't see my video, but anyway, I'm Alicia Fitzgerald, and I'm the program coordinator for the Center for Regional Studies, and I'm looking forward to the presentation.
Thank you. Bjorn?
Good afternoon, Bjorn Fredrickson. I'm with the New Mexico Wilderness Alliance in Albuquerque.
Welcome. Naya?
Hi, everyone. My name is Maya. I'm in the Studies May program, and I'm from Acoma, Pueblo.
Welcome. Sochi?
Hi everyone, I'm Soshi. I'm a first year master's student in the Chicana and Chicano Studies department.
Thank you. Bryn?
Good afternoon, everyone. Bryn Frawa from the Pueblo of Famous, and I'm here with Flower Hill Institute.
Welcome. Marcella? You're on mute, Marcella.
There we go. Hi, everyone. My name is Marcella. I'm a second year master's student at UNM in the Latin American Studies.
Loretta?
Hi, I'm Loretta Esquivel, and I'm with the Museum Research Traineeship Program at UNM.
Awesome. I think that's everyone. One listed under Zoom cart. Say hi, tuning in from Aldo Leopold Foundation. So welcome, everyone. Did I miss anyone? Okay. Well, good afternoon, colleagues, esteemed guests, and community members. Welcome to today's lecture by Janice Lucero, founder of Cotton Blossom Gardens and the Isleta Pueblo Voters Alliance. Janice's presentation, Indigenous Land Ethics and Core Values, explores the past, present, and future of farming, community, and following one's heart. In 2020, Janice, feeling burnt out from her 20-year IT career, inherited an acre of land from her grandparents. This marked a turning point coinciding with the pandemic, a clear sign to return to the land. Cotton Blossom Gardens, born from this transformative journey, has grown into a thriving farm, nourishing her family, community, and Janice herself. Beyond farming, Janice is committed to education, hosting youth tours, and community events to highlight the vital connection between communities and the land. Today, we are privileged to hear Janice's story, part of the Ancestral Gila Homeland Project, celebrating the cultural histories and stories of Indigenous homelands during the 2024 centennial celebration of the Aldo Leopold Gila Wilderness designation. So without further ado, let us warmly welcome Janice Lucero to share her insights on Indigenous land ethics and core values.
Thank you very much, you all. Everybody, I'm going to share my screen and let's get started. Whoops. All right, first off, can everybody screen?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I just want to again say thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with you all today. Thank you, Michelle, for inviting me. I really just appreciate this opportunity to be here and to share my story, to share, let me minimize that up, to share my journey along, you know, with where I was before and where I am today. I'm going to do an introduction in my Tiwa language. So, hinamam kima harimba, natataikam takipaf, shehwef toititewem. Again, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Janice Lucero. I'm from the Pueblo, and I am super excited to share this journey with you. And as you can see, there is me on the screen. Calm Blossom Gardens, I kind of put that into cultivate, blossom, and grow. And I will share my story. All right, so I am from the Pueblo of Isleta, one of the 19 pueblos here in the state of New Mexico. We are south of the Rio Grande. I mean, we're further south of the Rio Grande, and you know, the story goes is, you know, we all emerged from the same place. We have a couple of ancestral sites here of our landing of where we first came, and that's right below the Manzano Mountains, and we migrated down into more of the farmland. We are a farming community. Isleta actually is a Spanish name for little island, and so that was given to us by the Spaniards, but we are also known as Shehwif Doi, which means that means the knife on the ground. And so I'm very, very honored to share this with you and to share my story. I come from a strong lineage of you know, painters and potters and beaters and just agricultural as well. So this is an old picture that I'm sharing with you of the Pueblo of Isleta back in, I'm not too sure, it says 359, but I don't think that's correct. I don't know the exact date of this, but you can see the village proper, and it's, you know, it's grown since. Right now there's a population of about 5,000 Isleta Pueblo community members that are enrolled. All right. Just to give you some history on who I am, I was born to my mother, Iris Padilla, and my father, Norbert Lucero. Unfortunately, my mom passed away at the age of 8 months. And so at that time, this is the house that we grew up in. And that's the house that my grandfather right here on to the right, that he built with his brothers, and my grandparents raised me along with my aunties here. And so it was a really hard upbringing, but with the love of my grandparents and my ki'us, that's what we call them, my aunties. Those are my dad's sisters. You know, we all, like most families, most Pueblo families, you know, we take care of each other, and they were there for me, you know, from the very beginning. And you know, it was just an unfortunate situation with my mom. I didn't really get to know her. Didn't really get to know the family until I was older. But as a child, my aunt, who is in the middle there in the glasses, since I was a baby, she actually nursed me. And so, you know, I have a bond with each and every one of them, and they've all really poured into me a lot of just their own advice and, you know, their beauty and their wisdom, but also my grandparents here, whom I love and respect. And the land that I actually farm on is their land. And I was just very honored as I got older that, you know, they left this piece of land for me. And so when I was growing up, I didn't really take to farming or planting. I seen it, I was around it, but I really had my own ambitions. And I think, you know, as we grow and we get into the world, you know, we become conformed in a lot of ways. And that was really my story, was I was, you know, conformed into the society, you know, the culture at that time. And so I had a pretty rough upbringing. my dad had remarried, and he he got married to a woman who really didn't like us. So there was some abuse in the family. There was just things that weren't very healthy for me as a child, and I found myself really trying to find a way out, and also trying to find a way to fit in. If that sounds kind of weird, but it's like there was a lot of times I didn't feel like I belonged. There was a lot of times that I was always out running and looking for acceptance. And so my upbringing was just, it was what it was, and I had to cope with that. And I think as we grow older, we kind of suppress a lot of the emotional baggage, and we carry that until later on in life. So that was the beginning of my childhood, and along the way I was influenced a lot by a lot of different people, but also one of the biggest influencers in my life was my brother, who encouraged me to go on to school. And so that picture didn't, I don't know why that picture didn't come up. Oh, there it goes. Okay. And so what I did was, back in the early, I want to say when I was maybe like 20 years old, I started working at an MIS department. And my brother at the time was going to school out in Hawaii, and he had gotten a bachelor's in information in what did he get a bachelor's in? Information system technology, I believe. And so he really encouraged me to pursue an education and pursue a degree. And so I was like, okay, I was like, I can do this. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And he was like, hey, there's a lot of money in it. If you start now, right, you can get your foot in the door. And at the time, I like I said, I was working as an admin assistant, I was working as an admin assistant for the local MIS department in the Pueblo of Isleta. And my supervisor, Terry Honeycutt, he was like, hey, there's positions opening, we're going to grow, you should pursue an education in IT. So I did. I enrolled, and I went to ITT Tech. I got an associate's in computer networking, which was in 2004. And that opened up a lot of doors of opportunity, which then started my IT career. I worked in different sectors of IT. I pursued another degree. So I went to school and got a bachelor's degree in information systems technology as well. Graduated in 2008, and just started to do more IT stuff, and really that again opened up more doors, and I ended up in different sectors. I worked at the Space and Missile Command. I worked at Tempur-Pedic. I worked at P&M, and this is the picture that you see here. That was actually my last day at P&M. And so what happened at P&M was, I chased money for a long time. I really chased money, and at the end of it, I really wasn't happy. I found myself drowning in more work, having to prove myself in a lot of areas. I worked with a lot of men. It was a very male-dominated industry. And at the end, I after 20 years, I was like, great, I got a raise, I was making the money that I wanted. But it just wasn't satisfying. There was something calling me back, to the land. And my grandparents had died back like 3 years after I left here. But I just knew that I wanted to do something different. And so I left this job in 2020. I left P&M in 2020, or I believe in 2021. So but this job here was great. It was great experience, but I was really burnt out. I didn't have the passion anymore to move forward with, being in this industry. So that's really where the big change for me came. And of course, at that time, as we know, little did we know that the pandemic was going to hit. And so I found myself going back to the land. And so when I went back to the land, there was a lot of work. There was a lot of work to be done on the land. The house that I showed you in the previous pictures was where I grew up at. My grandparents grew up, and I would go there and I would sit there and, you know, in this little area where we had this big tree, this cottonwood tree, and in the driveway, and I would look at the house, because there was this huge house my grandfather had built back in I want to say like maybe the 50s. And so I would sit there and I would be like, you know, what is it? What do I need to do? What is my purpose? Really, I started to question what my purpose was at that time. And as I started to just really think about, you know, what I wanted to do, it was like the land was calling me back. The land was not only calling me back, but I would go there and I would cry. And, you know, there was just this healing energy about it that I was like, okay, like I know what I need to do now. Is like I needed to cultivate this land. I needed to get this going. For a long time, that land had just been abandoned. The house been abandoned, and nobody went down there anymore, you know. And as like I said, my childhood, we grew up there. There was parties there all the time. There was, you know, people that would come and go. All of my aunties lived in that house. My mom lived in that house before she had passed. And so I bring this picture up because while we were cleaning the house and taking stuff out, it took a lot of work. I had to hire a few people, but I found this piece of pottery that my grandmother actually had painted. And so she loved to paint. She painted a lot of different designs on pottery. And like I said, she beaded. And so I found this and I kept it. And I was like, you know, I'm going to do something with this. And so this was kind of the inspiration of not kind of, but this is the inspiration to the logo, to the Cotton Blossom logo. And Cotton Blossom, actually, like I said earlier, Tahipoff, Cotton Blossom is my Tiwa name. And so I thought, you know, what a beautiful thing to find. And I kept that until it was the right time to do something with it. And so during the time of me going down there, and I would just look around because they had a kiln outside. They had all kinds of stuff. They had so much stuff in that house. It was used as a storage from my aunties. There was so many things. There was a lot of work to get that all that stuff out of the house, really. And so, like I said, in 2019, you can see the house was still up. I got a little bit of funding from my tribe to demolish this house. And it was really hurtful, to be honest, because I knew that my grandmother had put all of his hard work in his, so this was a hard thing for me to do. But as I had professionals go in and take a look at the house, I really wanted to see if I could keep it, but there was asbestos in the roof and in the house. And so the best thing that we could do was to really just tear it down. And that's what we did. So with that funding, I got a little bit of people to come and help. And as you can see in 2020, the house came down. And we started, this is really where the work started for me. And it took a lot of, you know, a lot of time for us to take out the debris and to really clear it up. And so this is the beginning of cultivating the land. And as I started to cultivate, like I said, we found different cool things, pottery. And if you go there now, you'll still find some pottery shards around. You know, and it's really cool that I got to find that specific piece of pottery that actually became the logo of my company, Cotton Blossom Gardens. And so in 2020, we did a smaller section of a garden, and I had my cousins come in. You know, just people started to just come around again, and I loved that. I loved the thought of, you know, family coming back, and we would, you know, my cousins would help me. We did a little small area of where we gardened, and that's really where it started to inspire me to do something with the land even more. And so in 2021, I left my job. Or 2020, between 2020 and 21, I left P&M, and I actually went, before I started the company, I worked for Ancestral Lands, and we kicked off the first Isleta hiking club. And so here to the left, you can see the kids here, and that hiking club really was what also was part of my healing as well, not only with the land, but talking with these kids and being in community with them. We were able to take them to different ancestral sites and show them around New Mexico. And it's a beautiful thing when you have people who are willing to share history with you. And I was very fortunate. We were very fortunate to have Dr. Walt, he gave us a tour of a couple of beautiful sites. One of them is an ancestral site, which is called the Cold Place. And so the Cold Place was a place where it's on top of a mesa. And during the Pueblo Revolt, or during that time, some of our people would go up there and hide. But again, a lot of our people they left the village. They went to different areas in the state, to Acoma, to Laguna. They went down to, also went up to Hopi, also down into El Paso, which I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if you guys know of the Isleta del Sol. So that's down south. And so, there was this separation of our people. But, there's a lot of history in all these places of where we have roamed, and also in the Gilas. So it was really nice to have that history being told to us, not only from him, but we had elders come out, and they also told the history of the land. Of course, Isleta was covered in water way back in the day. And if you walk some of the ditches down there, you find a bunch of seashells. And it was a really cool experience for me. And those kids are really what helped me do my own inner healing for my own inner child as an adult. And they really just shared the same passion that I had with being outside and enjoying each other and seeing things, in nature, and understanding, what nature really does for us. And so this is where this all happened for me, and it, cultivating relationships. And this is where I found myself, really, was with the land. It was one of those things where I think I needed that during that time of the pandemic, not really knowing what was going to happen at that time. I really needed to figure out who I was. I really didn't know who I was at that time. And for a long time, I didn't know who I was, because there was so much conformity that happened. When I went to the land, it was like there was so many things that started to talk to me. There was so many things that within me that I started to understand, that I started to hear the voices of my grandparents, and all the things that they had told me prior. But, when you're young, sometimes you don't understand what that meant. And it was like in those moments where I was there touching the land and, getting it ready, and, planting the seeds, that I was like, I get it, I understand. And so I had the opportunity to work with Pueblo Resurgence, which is another farmer collective in Isleta Pueblo. And that's really what kicked off, more of a community type based of a organization that we were able to grow food for our community. And so back in 2021, 2022, we grew a lot of food. I was growing on a quarter acre. I grow on a quarter acre. I actually kind of expanded that right now. So, we start small, but of course we want to get bigger and bigger. I'm not trying to go too big. I'm going, based off of what I can really truly handle. But it was really nice to work with these folks, and we brought the Ancestral Lands kids to the land, and they also got to experience, what we do. They they loved being out there. We also incorporated, our language, being able to teach them. And the cool thing was that, they really, really loved learning, and they really wanted to be out there and help us and work, and of course, taste the food and harvest the food. So that was really cool. We gave some of a portion of our food to the Isleta Pueblo Elders Center, and it was great to see them, be happy, and also bring them in and tell their side of the stories of them farming. And that was really nice to just bring them in and have, their voices be heard. And so I'm going to my core values, and I'm sorry I'm going a little bit fast here, but what brought me back was, these values here. And as we think about why, what these values are, what they hold dear to us, my thing was, I really wanted to, we all have different values, really. We all have different values. And I really wanted to incorporate these values to the youth and to show them, hey, look, right? Our values change at times, but when we respect the land and we go back to the land, there's unity there. When we really truly understand that we are one, and that, we all work in this beautiful universe, and that's, with the cosmic and the, elements of who we truly are. And so these are some of the core values that I want to share with you. When I started to think about my business, and what I really wanted to share with you and also with the youth were these values that really meant something to me. And of course, when you're younger, you don't think about, I didn't think about these values. I didn't think about the core values as much as I do today, and really what I believe in. And of course, love is the highest frequency. And so love was one of them. When I thought of like, hey, the without love, we don't have nothing. But with love, it can be everything, and it can heal. So love was the highest on my list of core values. Loving myself, learning how to love myself. I think, as a young adolescent, I've done a lot of self-sabotage. And I didn't really value myself, and I didn't really love myself. I didn't have those core values. And so as I got older, we start to understand what those values are. And so love, being able to love myself was one of the biggest things, but also to show love. So love has no expectations, no conditions. It's the highest frequency of vibration. With love, anything is possible, and love comes with no fear. We believe in love as our forefront, starting with ourselves. Respect. Respect and self-respect is a moral value that encompasses all values that one should always live by. Respect and respecting everything above, everything below, and everything all around you. We believe that respect is a sign of humility and love. Gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation of true happiness. By having a grateful heart, you can appreciate the beauty in people, the beauty in the land, the water, the sky, the stars, the sun, and animals. Big or small, we believe in giving thanks to everything and everyone. Equality. Equality has no color, no label, no title, and no gender. We believe that everyone should be treated equal and have the same opportunities. Compassion. Compassion is putting others first, an action that requires your love to be transmitted into something or someone. We believe in showing compassion and being compassionate to others. And unity. Unity brings togetherness and a sacredness in love. We believe in unionship with all of creation. And so these were the core values that I wrote, that I had to really think about, like, what does that mean? What do these core values mean? And, it's being able to share these with you all and many others, that hoping that, we can carry on these values, not only for ourselves, but for, of course, the land and the water and everything around us. We, as today, as you see, there's a lot of extraction, there's a lot of capitalism, there's things that are going on that, don't really align with the values of who we truly are. And I believe if we understand what our values are, then we, you know, some of those outside things, you know, we don't support those. That's where we can put up those boundaries and say, hey, you know what, that doesn't support the value that I believe in. I believe in, you know, the unity of people. I believe in the sacredness of love. And so these are the values that I hold dear to myself. And I hope that you take some of these values for yourself and apply them into your life. In 2020, I was elected to participate in the Native in Residence program through the New Mexico Community Capital. And so that was a really great honor and also a learning experience for me. And I have a small video here that I want to show you that we were able to do. So let me play this.
Makuam, hinamam kima, natataikam ta'akipaf. Good evening, everybody. Hello, welcome to Cotton Blossom Gardens. I'm Janice Lucero, also known as Dakipaf. Dakipaf means cotton blossom in our Tiwa language, and I welcome you to my farm. This farm, Cotton Blossom Gardens, actually sits on an acre, but I'm farming about a half an acre. This land was actually my paternal grandparents, Joe D. Lucero, Tatahuita Pai, and Lupita Lucero, Nana Mapua Pai. This was their land. This is inherited ancestral land from my family, and I couldn't bear it not being utilized in a good way. So in 2020, I decided to start a garden. It wasn't until last year that it became my life. It became a sacred place for me to come and reconnect, like I said, with just my ancestors, my grandparents, the elements, and nature itself, Mother Nature. Seeing how the pandemic had affected us last year, it really made me think about going back to our traditional ways, going back to farming and thinking about the sustainability that we've always had. We've always had sustainability in our lives. That's been a part of us. Our women, our ancestors, the women that I look up to are horticultural women, meaning that they were growers of plants, vegetables, and fruit. And this is what's important. This is where I find my peace. This is where I find my happiness. This is sometimes where I cry. This is sometimes where I just think. And sometimes this is just where I have tranquility and it's peaceful. We need to reconnect so we know what's important, so we feel that connection. And that's what farming has done for me. I started to just really practice being grateful in the morning, thanking the sun, and also just being thankful of Kikewi, right? The earth. And so that's the respect, that's the connection that I always go back to. There's so much appreciation of seeing a garden full of growing plants. Plants are definitely our children, and they need just as much love and caring and nurturing just as much as we give our own children. So this year in 2021, I made a few changes to my garden. I actually put in a faucet, so there's a different type of irrigation system that I got set up. Pueblo Resurgence helped me a lot with actually getting this whole drip system set up. This year also, my dad, my family, my kids, my cousins, they all came together and they helped with this garden, and it's so nice to have their help because it's a lot of work, it's a lot of physical work. Another big challenge that I'm facing right now is just the expansion of this garden. I would love to create a shared open space to have youth and children come in and learn. And it's not just for me, this is for the community, this is for my family. It has brought us together, it has brought family together. And so I feel like this is a place of unity. It's a place of happiness for everyone. I'm so grateful for Daryl Lucero, Pueblo Resurgence, and NMCC, the New Mexico Community Capital, for this opportunity. I believe in the work that we're doing, and I love growing healthy food. And I believe that we can create a community that's sustainable for everyone. And I believe that food is life as well, just like water, and we need it to sustain, and we need to go back to the teachings and the ways that we were taught on how to farm and use our land.
I'm super proud of that video. I was really nervous, by the way, when when I shot that video. So I don't know. I was like, oh my gosh, how is it gonna turn out? But it turned out really, really good. So I'm very proud of it. And yeah, you know, it's been a beautiful journey, following your heart, following your passion. Makuams, you know. And so with that, it's been blooming, it's been growing, and you know, every year it's something new. Every year it's different projects. It's bringing in people to learn land education. I was able, and I say we because my father helps me, and my cousins, they come and you know, they do some work around here and around my area, and of course volunteers. Many people come and visit. Last year, I'm already saying last year, and it's already 2020, it's 2024. In 2022, I received some funding to build a harvest hut with a wash station, which has become very, very helpful. And you know, I'm grateful for that. My cousin who lives in Washington, Akula, his name is Star, he did this all on his own. And I told him, I said, hey, look, I want to have a little shaded area because the land really didn't have anything, as you saw in previous pictures. It was a lot for us to get all of the debris out. It's very flat, it's open, there was no shade. We took down some trees. That was we had a lot of elm that became really invasive. So, you know, we had to get the elms out. And this was built in 2022, and it's just been a really big help to have a shaded area and to wash our vegetables. And the cool thing is last year, working with one of the farmers up in San Felipe, Bryce Townsend, he brought a lot of his vegetables last year, and we were a big help to each other. And we, you know, would rinse the vegetables and wash the vegetables, and we would take them back up. Although it was a lot of commute, we did a lot of collaboration, and we did a lot of helping with each other. I did a workshop every year. I try to do a workshop, and this is in collaboration with the Valle del Oro Wildlife Refuge. And so every year they have a 20-day or 30-day environmental justice days. And so I hosted a workshop for composting, and we opened it up, of course, to the community. That was successful. And just, you know, it's just awesome to see even our neighbors come, you know, walking down, and they're like, what are you guys doing? So, you know, it's really nice to have our own community members come in and be a part of, you know, what we're doing, of the workshops and learning, and we're learning together. And it's awesome because you hear so many beautiful stories of their ancestors and their upbringing, and you know, the farming, because farming it's a way of life. Like I said, it's a way of life for a lot of the Pueblo communities and people. And so this was a really fun workshop that we did, and it brought in a lot of people to learn. Now, last year, in 2023, this was a big year, and this impact, the impact for me was great. I've had more people come as the years come as well. We've had many youth come onto the land and learn about soil health. I love teaching the youth. I think that's probably my favorite, is, you know, being able to interact with them and show them the different seeds. And I love to correlate how seeds are like us, right? Seeds are exactly like us. They come in different sizes, they come in different colors, and they all have a story. And being able to tell the kids that and have them touch the seed and, seeing the seed being planted to it, growing and of course harvesting. Of course, the kids love the freshness of the food and they'll pick everything if you let them. But they really enjoy that, and that's really where my heart is at, as well as being able to teach them the importance of why we do this work and where this food is going and how it nourishes us. One of the workshops we did was a salve workshop where we used some medicinal plants that were growing on the land, such as yerba mansa and also globe mellow. It grows abundantly on my land, so we were very fortunate to harvest that and make a salve. And this is the picture here in the middle that you see with individuals who came to participate in that. And the children here on to the right are the kids from the Tamaya language program. There was about 30 youth that came, and they were a joy. They really loved being there. We played last year, and I didn't put the pictures in here, but last year as well was the first year that we played shinny. Shinny is an old Indigenous game. I want to say rolled, in Indigenous communities. And shinny is where you make this seed ball and you use these, I think they're cedar sticks. And so you hit this ball on the ground and you lift up the soil and, the dirt. And it had been 60 years since we had played that game. And a lot of the community members locally in Isleta came and were just super excited. They were so happy. And, it was like we were little kids again, I mean, you saw people from all generations, from the older generations down to the younger generations. And we had a blast. It was so nice to bring that back. And, we invited our governor and, told him about, hey, can we do this in our main plaza? And he's all for it. And we're hoping to do that again sometime this year before, of course, the growing season starts, which will be in April. And so we also had the older youth come in and, they facilitated a small little workshop for their program and for their youth initiatives. And so that was really cool to have them there. And so just really opening up the space and, sharing that space with a lot of different people who feel the same way that I feel. And again, going back to the core values of, love and respect and being grateful in this space has been just fulfilling for me. And also we have 3 different water sources on the farm. So that's been really nice to share that. I love sharing how we get our water, how we utilize our water. I was very fortunate last year with an old administration, or the year before, sorry, to sit on a water working group with our tribe. And so that's been very, very helpful for me to understand also some history, to understand how our water rights work. And so I've been able to also share that information with the youth and again, incorporate that into land education. And that's pretty much it. But I do want to share with you that, this year I do plan to collaborate with more organizations. I'm always open to doing, fun things and collaborate with people who, again, hold the same values and bring in the youth and to build. One of the things that I don't have on my land is any amenities. So I'm really trying to work towards getting a restroom. That has been one of the barriers for me, is having a restroom there. So every time I do get like big groups of people, I'm having to rent a porta potty and we put it out. But this year, I'm really looking forward to getting some funding so that we can build, you know, a outdoor compostable toilet. And, you know, again, just really carrying on the work. And I forgot to mention as well, part of the work that I did last year was with the Fresh RX program. That's a state-funded program for farmers, and working with just different farmers also. You know, we were able to give food and provide food to 9 different tribal communities, urban communities. And we would take this food and we would go to the Roadrunner Food Bank, and we would do all of the bagging. There was 2 days where we did that work, and it would get distributed out to different, like I said, tribal communities. And it was, you know, it's really fulfilling for me, and I wouldn't have changed anything. You know, I feel like part of who we are is being able to follow our own heart's desires and our passion. And when we can't do that, right, we feel almost contained in this little box. And you know, we're meant to live the lives that we're called to, the purpose that we have in this life, and that's to share, you know, the knowledge and the wisdom, and of course, you know, to also take care of our land, to really understand that, you know, it is sacred. You know, the soil, right, the water, all of those things, all the elements that we sometimes take for granted, that it is a part of us. And so, you know, it's been a beautiful journey for me. I'm grateful for, you know, some of the connections that I've established, and I see some of you all that I know, and you know, I'm just really grateful for that, because it opened up a door of just beautiful networking and collaboration with many of you who are doing the same work. And so my message really is that, you know, follow your heart. Don't be conformed into what the world wants us to be. I think I was so consumed with that. You know, I think as we get older, we don't, as we're young, right, we're like, we think so much about what people's opinions are about us. But as we get older, those opinions don't matter, because it's like we find our true selves. And my true self was being with the land, going back to the land, being able to go there and not being judged. And also, you know, just having a heart for our youth, being able to bring them in and show them and teach them the ways that, you know, our grandparents had showed us, being able to tie Indian tea. You know, also we did the chili risas, tying chili, you know, and just the history of who we are. I think that's important. We lose sight of, you know, where we come from. And it's just been a beautiful journey to be here. And Michelle, and getting to meet her, you know, in some of these spaces. And many of you all have come to my land as well, you know, just to hear my story, and also just to visit. And I'm so grateful for that. And thank you so much for, you know, your support. I look forward to just really sharing this journey with you all again. I mean, you know, to open that up for you, to come to the land. And, you know, my doors are always open. You know, I always do need some volunteers, as this work is a lot of work. You know, there's hot days where we're out there sweating. And then some days I'm like, dang, why am I doing this? You know, and it's like 100 degrees, and, you know, we're sweating out there, but it's like, it doesn't matter for me. You know, I think I go back to like, why am I doing this? And it's because I find joy in that, you know. And people have asked me, why do you like this work? Like, this is hard work. And I'm like, but I don't see it as work. I don't see it as hard work. I see it as something that I love. And the moment that you love, it's been a beautiful journey, and I'm really excited to just, again, open up my space to you all. If you're ever in the area, I do market a really, really awesome salsa. So part of what I grow is, I grow all of the vegetables for my salsa, I also grow, you know, the corn, blue corn, yellow corn, peas, gosh, we grew a lot. Squash, but I'm trying to stay away from the squash because I don't know about you guys, those squash bugs, they drive me crazy. So I spent a lot of time just trying different methods on trying to, you know, get rid of those squash bugs. And also just, you know, being able to utilize the resources that are available to us, right? NRCS, the USDA, there's a lot of great programs out there that will help you. I'm hoping to get a high tunnel this year and get that set up so that, you know, I can grow into the high tunnel. And, you know, those are just some of the goals that I have, and it does take work. So I appreciate, you know, if you all want to come out and volunteer and help, I definitely am grateful for that. So yeah, it's been a journey, and I love being able to share this space, and, you know, it's only gonna grow and get better, you know, for the youth really, and for those that really want to learn, and being able to host different different workshops has been also really cool, and learning more about medicinal plants. That's kind of where I'm at too, is learning, you know, what did we use these plants for? Because every plant has a purpose, just like us, right? We all have a purpose. So being able to learn what those medicinal plants can do for us, and not really have to rely on the pharmaceutical industry. I think that our bodies can heal themselves. You know, I think a lot of it is in our mind, right? I always tell my kids, like, what you think about, you bring about. So I try to keep to that myself, you know, try to follow my own words, and being able to have a better mindset, and, you know, think positive, trying to think in the ways that, you know, are more community-based, but also, like I said, you know, just really trying to be positive in those ways, and changing the mindset of not being a victim. You know, like I mentioned, I had a rough childhood, and I think part of that was I had a victim mentality for a long time, and being able to break through that, being able to break those cycles and be who I am today. It took a lot of work, and it took a lot of, again, reprogramming our subconscious minds. And so, you know, using a lot of good affirmations, you know, being grateful, gratitude, right? Gratitude is the attitude, I like to say. So, you know, those are the things that I really like to share, especially with the youth when they come onto the land, and, you know, just to give them some hope, and to also inspire them. And I hope that this inspires you as well, you know, that my story inspires you to follow your heart, and, you know, not to be conformed to what other people want you to be, and, you know, what society tells us that we should be. You know, we're our own people, and you know, we only, you know, what your purpose is, and what makes you happy, and how you want to pursue that. And, you know, I really do feel like I am in service to my people, but also to the land. You know, we're here to protect what we have, protect what's sacred, especially our water. You know, that's a huge thing, and to be a real big advocate for that, and find ways, really trying to find ways and avenues to be better stewards of the land, and, you know, not to take. If we take, what are we giving back? What are we, you know, that's part of the culture I came from, you know, is to give back to Mother Earth. You know, I was taught, for instance, when we get our first harvest, my dad has always taught me, you know, you take the first of everything and you give it back to the land. So, you know, you give it back to her. And so that's something that I love to teach my own kids, but that's something that I also teach the youth when they come back. You know, how are we giving back to the land? You know, and that could be through prayer. That could be, again, just through gratitude. But is it, you know, we're not just taking, we're showing that we respect and we are grateful for what we have. And to be blessed, to grow all the beautiful vegetables that we have yearly. I mean, you know, we see places that the land it has been destroyed, you know, through pesticides and herbicides, right, being sprayed. So trying to get away from that, and also just being in community with some of our elder farmers. A lot of what's being grown in our community is alfalfa, and that's been their way of life. That's been their way of life of survival, you know, getting money, maintaining, you know, sustaining through that way. So it's not saying, hey, you're doing that wrong, you know, but also showing them that, hey, there's another way that we can do this. Let's work together. Let's provide you some resources. Let's give you some plants. Let's give you some seeds, you know, and being able to share the seeds. And I really do see that as the next project really with my tribe is, you know, let's bring our seeds back. Let's plant more. Let's do a food forest. And so I'm very fortunate that I do sit in this water working group, because these ideas are being heard, and they're hearing our voice, and they're understanding where we're at today with, you know, of course, climate change. And of course, all along the state of New Mexico, you see, you know, the different landscapes of our terrain. Some of it is super dry. You see, you know, good healthy soil in some areas, but it's really just, you know, it's doing the research, and also, like I said, you know, paying the respect, and you know, not taking so much from the land. How can we put back? How can we grow? How can we keep our food here also in the state of New Mexico? Farmers, there's a big network of farmers here in our state. And it's crazy to think that, you know, 95% of our food actually still comes in out of state. So how do we keep our food here? And how do we also have access, give access, you know, close access for those communities to get healthy food, and knowing that food is also medicine for us, that it can heal us. You know, we see a lot of just different diseases and, you know, health issues. And I believe some of them do actually come from some of the food that we're eating and we're consuming. So being mindful of what are we taking in, you know, what's that saying? We are what we eat, right? We are what we eat. So yeah, it's been a journey. I'm grateful for this, and you know, there's a lot of great things happening, and it's only going to get better. And I invite you all to come visit, come visit me, come check out what we're doing. If you want to collaborate, I'm always open for collaborations and, you know, learning about what you have going on, and I'm always here to help. I'm open to that, and I really do enjoy the kinship of our brothers and sisters that are around. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Janice.
Thank you, Janice. That was awesome. Amazing. We're already a little past 4 o'clock. We want to just be respectful of everyone's time, but maybe we can do a one or two questions if anybody has them. And Janice, I kind of wanted just to start, maybe if you can kind of talk a little bit about how your journey at Isleta with your people is connected to the ancestral Gila.
Yeah, so again, during the Pueblo Revolt, and even before that, right, our people have been all around the state of New Mexico. And so you see a lot of the petroglyph paintings, not only in Chaco Canyon, where that was a meeting place for a lot of our tribes, but of course the Gilas, you know, that was also ways where we had to hide, you know, where we would go and we hide along some of the trails along the Rio Grande, but, you know, different areas. I sent Michelle a really cool map of some detailed information, and I hope that she shares that with you. And it gives some history as far as, you know, where Native communities have been all around the state, and where the bisons were, and, you know, all of that good stuff. But yeah, it's, you know, our people have I mean, during the time of invasion, we've had to hide. We've had to go in different places. And it's just not the Gilas, right? It's also in Chilili. It's also, like I said, Laguna, Acoma. But there is a lot of history along real ground us that, you know, our people have been, and I mean, it's amazing to look back at history and see, you know, what they had to do for survival, and also to hide and, you know, keep what they know in secret until it was time for us to, you know, when it was time for us to come out in safety, when there was safety.
Thank you. Any questions from anyone? Awesome. Well, thank you again, Janice. As we I think conclude today's presentation by Janice, I think we can all agree that we want to express our gratitude for the valuable insights she's shared with us today. Janice's journey with Cotton Blossoms Farms has, I think, inspired us all to reflect on our connection to the land and the importance of preserving Indigenous wisdom. Really quick, one thing I want to do is share my screen and just make mention that looking ahead, the next lecture will be from Ruben Leyva. He's a PhD graduate assistant in the Native American Studies Department here at UNM. Ruben is a member of the Red Paint people from Southwest New Mexico, known historically as the Gila Apache. Will be presenting on the Apache homelands and the Gila wilderness. This lecture will be February 9th at 3 p.m. So Dr. Kells, did you have anything to add, or?
A deep and heartfelt thank you to Janice for sharing your journey with us. And we look forward to many other opportunities to share our stories together. Please join us for our next Zoom event. If you have any other questions about the schedule of events, please look at our Ancestral Gila Homeland Digital Hub. And maybe Diego can put that in our chat. And we look forward to seeing you for our next presentation with Ruben Leyva.
Thank you all so much for your support today, and just, you know, this opportunity. I'm very grateful for each and one of you. Thank you.